welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into something that people know and love you for. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand coach for creatives, and I'm on a mission to make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. If you're ready to get more eyes on your work, more dollars in your pocket, and more creativity in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Let's brand your passion. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion. I am super excited today to be joined by Roxy and Phoebe of Pandr Design Co. Thank you both for joining me so much. I'm stoked to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. I would love to, before we sort of dive into the questions, for both of you to sort of introduce yourselves individually and then sort of Pandr as a collective, and tell us both what you do.
Sure. Yeah. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Phoebe.
And apologies in advance if our voices sound the same. We'll try to tell you who we are. But we run Pandr Design Co., which we are a business that specializes in painting murals. We've been doing it for 7 years. And we also are really big on educating artists how to make money doing what they love and encouraging people to charge more. We do a lot of things. We also have a book. We ran a nonprofit for a while. We had a podcast for a while. We do it all.
We're busy.
I love that. I'm a fellow multi-hyphenate creative person doing all the things. So I love that. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. You just mentioned sort of that you've been doing this for 7 years, and I'm super curious, how you got into murals in the first place, and then how Pandr Design Co. came together for you both to start working together on that.
Right. So this is Phoebe speaking. We met in 2015 and I found Roxy on Instagram. She was a celebrity lettering artist at the time, or I guess still is, but I was fangirling over her work. And so I emailed her and proposed that we meet up for drinks and talk about lettering because why not? And she, to my surprise, said yes. And then it kind of just grew from there. We met up and talked about starting a lettering club for other lettering enthusiasts in San Diego, which is where we're based. And it was really successful. We hosted monthly meetups for like-minded individuals and did all sorts of things like lettering on poster boards that we brought to the baseball game to try to get on the Jumbotron. And we did food lettering for Thanksgiving one year. It was fun. And then through that, we realized we worked really well together, and we're just constantly talking about our hopes and dreams because both of us at the time were working full-time design jobs. So the lettering club was just on the side
for fun
on the weekends, kind of fun thing. But yeah, we had these goals of making little products. So we started making pins and stickers and prints and selling those in local boutiques and online and whatnot. And then we talked about having a goal of painting one mural, and we did that one mural. And after we painted that, posted it to Instagram because everything comes back to social media. Mm-hmm. And someone saw that on Instagram and wanted us to do a mural at their coffee shop. So it just kind of grew from there. It was really organic, no master game plan of becoming a mural business and doing it for 7 years. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. It just kind of happened.
That's amazing. And I love that you sort of just saw Roxy on Instagram and you were like, I want to meet that person. And I want to work with her. And that's amazing. And I feel like, a lot of creatives maybe want to collaborate with somebody, but aren't really sure how to do that, or how to know that somebody is the right fit to do that with, because running a business together, you want to make sure, like you said, that you sort of have the same dreams and maybe the same values and that sort of thing. So how did you sort of know that you were the perfect match? Was that just from those conversations?
We really didn't know, and we got very lucky. So I had always known that I wanted to work for myself and was really gearing up to do that when Phoebe and I met. And that actually wasn't on her radar at all. She was planning on, working at an agency, working her way up and, becoming creative director, art director, whatever. And So I brainwashed her into working for herself. But even when we quit our jobs, we just thought of it as like collaborating on freelance projects together. We weren't like, okay, let's start a business together. But quickly things were not like, we realized like, oh, we don't know how to run a business. We don't know how to get clients. We don't know what to charge. And so we actually started working with a business coach fairly early on, I think within the like first 6 months of quitting our jobs. And that really kicked everything into high gear. Like even just thinking about it as a business was different than like, oh, we're freelancers. And that really changed our brains into the entrepreneurs that we are today. And did we know we were a good fit to work together business-wise? No, but I think that the huge benefit was that we work really well together creatively, like our styles blend together, we collaborate seamlessly. And because we had no idea about how to run a business, we learned everything together. So our business mind is very the same. And we both know how to do everything. We both do the creative and the business side. So it's just like, we always think the same for the most part. We're always like, yep, that makes sense. Let's do it.
Another thing I just thought of was like, not many people know this, but exclusive content for your podcast. Yes. There was actually 3 of us to start out. We had a third partner, my friend Eden from college, and Eden wasn't in alignment with our goals. She had this really killer full-time design job that she loved, and it was really a lot of work. I mean, her hours were crazy. So she had no intention of ever leaving and going full-time freelance. So I think that really also pushed Roxy and I together, knowing that, okay, well, we're very much in alignment, and we had to constantly say our goals out loud. So to make sure that we were on the same page, because Eden clearly wasn't. So that probably helped as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And I love that you, like you said, you got a business coach like quite early on. I feel like maybe a lot of creatives don't even know that that's an option or something that they could or should do. Is that when you sort of started working with the business coach and you said you started like treating your business as a business, is that when you sort of like started Pandr, or had you already like picked a name and started working under that before?
Yeah, it was kind of confusing because the name of our lettering club was San Diego Letters. And so we kind of just went with that, like just cut it off as being a meetup group.
Like not even thinking about it, just like, oh.
Yeah, we already have this Instagram account, whatever. Yeah. So we just ran with that, stopped doing like the meetup stuff, and just turned San Diego Letters into the business name. And then in 2 years later, in 2017, we were like, all right, we can't keep going with this name because it's very limiting. We need to be something else. We didn't know what that was. It took us a long time to figure out Pandr. And it was just because we didn't want to only be doing work in San Diego, and we didn't want to only do lettering. So we knew we wanted like kind of a made up name that could be anything. Like, yeah, we're murals today, but who knows what we'll be in 5 years.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I just changed my business name last year from Black and White Studios, because I used to do like black and white lettering, but I always I was like, I don't want to just do that. And like, my business has completely changed. And so now
it's so stressful.
Yeah. So it's so hard, like A, leaving that name, but then B, choosing the right one going forwards. Yeah. And I've seen the story of what your name means on TikTok, but do you want to tell everybody like what it means?
Yeah. So it's Pandr, Pandr, which stands for Phoebe and Roxy, P&R, but Pandr also means to gratify, and that's what we do with our art.
Oh, I love that. So beautiful. Perfect. You did a great job of choosing the right name. Awesome. And so when you sort of chose that name and you were setting up the brand, did you do, like, I know now you have a logo and the kind of like swirly patterns behind it and everything. Is that like new, or has it developed since then? Or tell me about the visual branding of things.
The original. Yeah, we knew if we were going to rebrand and change our name and everything that we had to go all the way and, you know, pick our signature color palette, our fonts, our logo. And that's kind of what made it take so long. Besides coming up with the name, then it's like, then you have to brand yourself. And with Pandr, our brand is very much centered around Phoebe and I, our personalities, our authenticity, like our work is very bright, colorful. So our brand is that way too. So it was fun. And I mean, I'm glad we did that early on and haven't had to touch the branding at all. And I think it still really works for us. And no matter what industry we're working in, I feel like our branding definitely suits us.
Yeah, definitely. And I assume that you did that yourselves because you have like graphic design and branding background, right?
Phoebe designed the logo. Yeah.
Wow, well done. It's amazing. And so as well as like your visual brand and everything, your sort of overall brand has developed a lot over the years, right? You said you started doing like lettering and then you got into murals, and now you've sort of expanded into doing those classes and resources and teaching about building a business. How has that sort of developed over time, and how have those transitions sort of happened?
It just started with a lettering workshop, honestly. We at the time had imposter syndrome, and we were like, why should we be the people to teach this? But there was a need and we kept getting asked to do it. So we just took the plunge. And then from there is when we started teaching other kinds of workshops, again, just from Instagram and people constantly DMing us questions and, you know, if we're getting this question enough times, there obviously isn't enough resources out there for that. So
when you're hosting a lettering workshop and you ask, are there any questions? And someone's like, how do I set up my business properly? Like nothing related to lettering. It's like, okay, there's definitely information that needs to be spread. And like when it came to like using contracts, there was no resources when we started. And it made it really difficult to know, are we even doing this right? Are we breaking the law? Are we doing things illegally? So we just saw such a need for education in our industry. And, you know, we are very transparent about numbers and exactly like how we do outreach, how we get clients, because there is enough work out there for everybody. And if more people are charging more, or if more murals are going up, it's just beneficial for all of us. It'll become a norm, like every business needs a mural. So we're just very much about spreading information.
Yeah, I love that so much. And one of the things that I love that you talk about, which you just mentioned, is like how much you get paid to do the murals, because I feel like in the creative industry as a whole, like a lot of people don't talk about how much money they make or don't make, or there's like these very disparate, like some people get paid not a lot, some people get paid quite a lot. And, you know, you've shared that you've made 5 figures designing and painting murals now, which I think is incredible, by the way. Like, why do you think it's important that we do talk about how much we get paid, and the fact that artists can make 5 figures from their projects, and, you know, you make 6 figures in your business every year now? Why do you think that's important to talk about and share with other creatives?
You don't know what you don't know, and it's hard to form any sort of, you know, baseline for anything. We need a standard. I mean, plenty of other industries have unions. We don't really have that. So yeah.
I think artists are working against a really horrible mindset of the starving artist stereotype, of this ingrained thing of like, if you really love your art, you don't need to get paid for it because you're just happy to make art. And if you do get paid for it, you're a sellout. So it's like, there's so much we're working against to even be making enough money to survive. And then if you start making, like, I mean, us posting that like our business made $750K last year, sometimes that really rubs people the wrong way. And they tell us like, you're bragging, you're discouraging people, you're whatever. But really, we just want to open people's eyes that like, this is possible. And we continue to want to surpass that. We want our business to make over $1 million this year. And we want artists to strive for not just not struggling. We want artists to be successful.
Thriving artists.
Yeah. Not just surviving, but thriving. Yeah. I'm so on the same wavelength. I love that so much. And I'm the same as you. I'm like, I want my business as a creative to make over $1 million, because that means like we can thrive and survive, but we can also put it back into other creatives. Exactly. And like, you know, you can put it back into teaching more creatives and all of that stuff. So
exactly.
It's definitely possible and a great thing. So I'm thankful that you are both teaching that. That's awesome. And so if we talk about sort of like getting to the point of making 5 figures for your murals, how has that sort of happened over time, do you think? Like just being well known for what you do has gotten you to that point, or what do you think has helped you to be able to charge that?
Yeah, it was a struggle in the beginning. We didn't know what we were doing. Our first mural we charged $700 for. So
But we didn't do it for free.
Yeah, we didn't do it for free, but
very important.
Yeah.
It is incredible that like, yeah, in our 6-year business, we had a 6-figure job, you know, it's really cool. But yeah, so what has gotten us there? So obviously having a system in place of what we charge. So if anyone needs it, we have a free mural pricing guide on our website, and we charge by the square foot. In the beginning, we were just like closing our eyes and guessing, you know, when we look at a wall, we had no formula. So now it's really easy when someone contacts us, you know, we can just quick calculate what it would be. Upping our prices over the years, not staying stagnant, because we've gotten faster and better. So we are just, you know, deserve to be paid more. Like everything, you know, you raise your prices as you get better. Social media has obviously been amazing for us. Referrals have been amazing. And then a lot of outreach, which is something that we talk about a ton, is introducing yourself to people and cold emailing people and really putting yourself out there. We have a goal of painting in all 50 states. So we're going to hit 30 states next month. Like, that's how we've been able to conquer that, is all mostly because of cold emailing people.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, I think people don't think to do that, right? They probably think I'll just put myself on Instagram and that's the only way to market myself. But yeah, reaching out like that is probably like takes those people by surprise, and they're like, oh, awesome, I love that you reached out. And then yeah, helps you to get those in front of new people. So that's awesome. And I would love to talk to you a little bit about TikTok, because you have started posting on there, and you know, have talked about social media being a huge part of what you do. So how have both of you, because you have separate like personal accounts, right, as opposed to Pandr. So how have you found like posting and growing on TikTok as a sort of semi-new platform to do that?
Yeah. So like a lot of people our age, we were very hesitant and really not wanting to get on TikTok. We were like team Instagram all the way, but sorry, we all know it. Instagram is
not what it used to be.
On the decline. So TikTok, while it was super confusing at first, we quickly realized like it actually was kind of nice, because Instagram at that time felt very like quality. Your feed has to look perfect and you have to write this like paragraphs in your caption, blah, 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 where TikTok is very quantity over quality. Like you can put garbage on TikTok and weirdly go viral. And people, you know, ask us if we get work being on TikTok. We literally don't do anything unless it will benefit our business. So yes, we do get work through TikTok. If anything, just having a following on any platform, even if it's a small following, you know, posting on different platforms is reaching different audiences. And TikTok has a lot more ability to reach people than Instagram does. So I would recommend anyone get on TikTok. It is fun, but also it does have such a reach, and your videos continue to get views, even if they're old. It's not like, oh, in 24 hours, it's done and over and like it's gone. Everything stays up there. So I feel like it is easier to grow a following, and TikTok does pay creators more than Instagram does. Instagram's like pretending like they're going to, but you know, it's a small amount that you get for views, but it's at least something, you know?
Yeah, it all adds
and
up.
we have gotten mural gigs through it, so.
Perfect. And like, did it take a while before your videos picked up, or did it happen pretty quickly? I guess you had like an existing audience on Instagram that maybe came over. So yeah, how did it sort of start and grow from there?
It's funny. The audience is really different from Instagram. Some people have followed over, but I feel like not a ton. We started at like really, you know, getting into it during the beginning of the pandemic. So what, like May, April of 2020. So I would say that first year, 2020, we saw a lot of growth, and 2021, it slowed down, unfortunately. And now it's feeling a lot harder to go viral. Like I used to feel like it was like every 10 videos, one video would go off. That's not really the case anymore, but we're still seeing more growth than ever on Instagram.
Yeah. And like, I've been on Instagram running like a business account for over 10 years now. And I've only been on TikTok for 2 years, and I have at least double the amount of followers on TikTok, which just like, it just gives you a little bit of credibility to have a larger following. So
it's just interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Why it's been so much faster, like why Instagram has worked out the way it has.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a conversation a lot of people are having now, right? It's like, should I keep going on Instagram or kind of give up, or where's it going to go? So yeah, I love that you were like, no, we're going to give TikTok a try, and it's obviously worked. So that's awesome. And I would love to know like what your thinking was behind having like your separate personal TikToks as opposed to like just one for Pandr, because that's what you have on Instagram, right? So yeah, what was the decision behind that? Or was there one?
I don't think there really was one. I mean, looking back, it, like anything, it probably would have saved us some headache if we just had one, because then we could both be posting on there simultaneously and just like really beef that one up. But I don't know, it's also good. We can both attract people from like our different accounts.
Attract people that like glasses wearers. But I think having the separate accounts is nice because it's like less tied to our business. Like on our Pandr Instagram, I feel like we had to think about it a little more of like what we would do and not do on that. Whereas when it's on mine or Phoebe's, we really don't care, even though it is still tied to our business. It's essentially a business account, but it's like slightly less tied to the brand. So it's not like, what did Pandr say? It's like, oh
yeah.
Pandr is usually a more PG.
Nice. And I'm curious about like in general, sort of how you balance like your quote unquote like personal brands versus the Pandr brand. And do you sort of think about that or not? Or do you have things that you want to do separately, or is it all just all in on Pandr? How's that balance sort of work?
It's like all in on Pandr. Yeah, the idea of doing any kind of like side hustle or whatever on my own makes me really sick to my stomach. like we've kind of just really gone committed full force to Pandr, and I think that is why we've been so successful. It's not just like a side hustle. It's like, no, like this is our livelihood.
Yeah, we've done it a little bit in that like we had a nonprofit for a couple years, and that sucked a lot of time and energy away from Pandr, and we saw that effect in our business, which directly relates
and our mental health.
And that directly affects both of our personal lives. So it's like a trickle down.
If Pandr's doing well, everybody's happy.
Yeah, so it makes sense to just keep doing all things Pandr. Yeah, awesome. And so now when we're talking about going all in on Pandr, you have got a new book, right? I would love to hear all about it and where sort of the idea came from. Yeah, tell me all about your new book.
It was always like one of those bucket list things. Like we want to write a book, we want to be authors. A lot of work. We maybe wouldn't have had it on our bucket list if we'd known all the work that went into it. Of course, we're proud of the outcome, and it's turned out beautiful.
It's great seeing people finally have it in their hands, but like
it was a really, really tough process. So, I mean, if anyone listening is looking into being an author, just like really think about it.
Yeah, like so much work to never be able to share about it until it comes out. It's really hard.
Delayed gratification, like 3 years delayed for us.
Yeah. So like everything, we just put out our goals, and we actually got approached by a book agent. And because we had no idea how to get into the book industry. And so she comes from the book world. She saw something in us, and we told her we wanted to make a book about mural painting, that there's no books about mural painting out there. Like everyone, there's like a zillion lettering books out there. We wanted to do something about murals. And she was like, well, that's going to be a little tricky because the book world is different. Like for entrepreneurs, we see like, oh, there's no muraling books. There's a hole in the market. Whereas the publishing industry says there's no books about muraling, which means nobody wants a book about muraling. If they did, it would already exist, which is stupid, frankly. So she helped us to tweak our ideas, which is why we ended up doing something residential. So it could be in the interior design world. So it's called Wonder Walls. It's a book teaching people how to paint murals in their homes. We did 26 different projects that step-by-step people could do. And it had to be under the interior design world so that it could be like
something that people could grasp, they could understand.
And then of course we put it out and people are like, how come there's no exterior murals? I'm like,
we weren't allowed to. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'll be curious if this paves the way for more, and maybe there'll be like a new section of the bookstore in future years. But yeah, highly recommend everyone go buy it.
Yes.
It's a nice coffee table book, and it's available at all places you can buy books.
Perfect. Yeah, I will make sure that there's links everywhere to go and check out the book. Yeah, I was wondering if you are keen to do maybe another one now that you've done that one, that you could hopefully talk about external murals.
Yeah, it would be like anything, easier the second time around, and especially like knowing what to expect.
We would definitely negotiate for a bigger advance, which we did get a very good advance for first-time authors, but with all the work, we would definitely want more.
And that's something we could do a whole podcast about. Is I think like authors are severely underpaid. It's a screwy system, like advances and royalties, and yeah.
At the end of the day, we're almost paying to make a book.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like that could be a whole workshop or podcast episode or something on that. That's exciting though. Like, congratulations on doing the work, and then now, like you say, you can see it in people's hands. That must be a pretty special feeling.
Yeah.
To see that. That's awesome. Cool. So I just want to wrap things up with a couple of kind of the hardest questions, but the questions that I asked to everybody. So question number 1 is, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned about like branding your passion?
I think authenticity is the most important thing. You have to really love your brand. You have to be your biggest supporter of your brand. And if it's not authentic, it's just like your clients are going to see that, or your customers are going to see that this is not true. This is not real. This person doesn't believe in this. So I think you really have to look deep into your soul to figure out who you are and make sure that your brand is in alignment with that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the last question, which you might have just answered that with that, is just if you have any advice to share with somebody who's just getting started to sort of brand their passion or follow their passion or start doing what they love, what advice would you give them?
I personally am all about word vomit, like word vomiting your goals and aspirations to everyone and their mom, because just never, ever know who's in the room, who's listening. And that's seriously how we've gotten so many things. It really is all about who you know, whether it's just a brand new introduction or an actual connection. So yeah, word vomit.
And I would say we see this a lot with people starting businesses or like quitting their jobs to go freelance full time, is that they won't start really doing anything until like their branding is perfect or their website is done or like their Instagram doesn't have enough content. No, you cannot afford to wait until everything's perfect. You need to just start making money. Then you can, work on that stuff. I mean, you could wait till your business is up and running and then you do one project and it's out of date. Like all of our websites are out of date, I'm sure. So I think it's just an excuse, and the faster you can get going, the easier it's going to be to build your business. I mean, years go by very fast in business world. So the sooner you can get moving, the sooner you can get paid. You can always edit, you can always update as you go. Like you did a rebrand, we did a rebrand. Like it doesn't have to be perfect from the start, just get going.
Yeah. I love that. That's brilliant advice from both of you. So I'm sure everybody listening will really value that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And believe us, we're not just saying it.
Yeah. Yeah. They have the evidence. You can go and follow them and see all the work that they've done and see that, this stuff works. So thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your story and all the things that you've learned over the last 7 years. It's so exciting to hear like what creatives can do and how big you can go and all of that stuff, and inspiring for everybody listening, hopefully, I'm sure. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We
really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Of course. And everybody listening, there will be links everywhere to go and follow both of them on TikTok and Instagram and all the places, and buy the new book Wonderwall. So go and check it out, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion and choosing to spend time with me learning all about branding, business, and all things creativity. You can find more episodes just like this one at makerandmoxie.com/podcast. If you like this one, you can tap that subscribe or follow button so that you're notified about each and every new episode. And if you've got a spare second, please leave a review on iTunes or wherever it is that you're listening to this podcast, because I would absolutely 100% love to hear from you. If there were some helpful goodies in this episode for you, it would mean the world to me as well if you could screenshot that podcast player right now, hop on over to Instagram or Twitter and tag us at Maker and Moxie. By subscribing, reviewing, and sharing, you're helping reach more creators just like you, so that together we can make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. We can't achieve this mission without you, so your support means the absolute world. I will talk to you in the next episode, but until then, keep creating.